when you spend less time outdoors and more time indoors, and then you have the same lights all day long and the same lights at nighttime, your circadian rhythm is completely disrupted. Where an incandescent light and combining that with more time outside is still reasonable from a circadian rhythm perspective. And circadian rhythm disruption is linked with pretty much all chronic disease. Again, we talked about like mitochondrial function. That's linked with nearly all chronic diseases, dysfunction of the mitochondria, imbalance. And the other component that I think is very underrated, and I mentioned in my post as well, is flicker. So most people don't understand how bad light flicker is because they can't actually see it. And that's the reason why it is so bad. So all LEDs, all fluorescent lights, unless you have some custom setup or buy a very specific type of light that has been engineered differently, is flickering. And it's flickering on and off as a electronics control mechanism, especially for attenuating brightness in LEDs, is basically the whole reason why they do this. It's called pulse width modulation. And if you take a slow motion video with your phone or a camera, you can see it. And oftentimes the lights are flickering on and off, or close to on and off, hundreds of times per second, maybe even thousands of times per second. And there's a range where at above 60 to 90 times per second, your eyes can't visually perceive it, but your brain can. And you can measure this via pupillary reflux or slow motion video of the pupil. It's really a stressor to your body. Imagine someone just like tapping you on the shoulder constantly. Like that's what's happening to your eyes, to your brain. And we're just sitting in this bath all day long. And it doesn't have to be that way. That's just kind of what they use to control the electronic drivers of the LEDs as a digital form of light. And incandescence, yes, they do have flicker from the 60 hertz power grid that we have, but the flicker index of really light itself doesn't have flicker. It's the power component, and the flicker index is far lower. And this is like not even debatable. You can go on the IEEE 1789, I think, is, and that's Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. You can look up other studies. It says plain in writing, flickering lights, flickering LEDs causes eye strain, it causes migraines, it can aggravate symptoms of autism, which is a skyrocketing issue for children, as we know, for many reasons. It can it can induce epileptic seizures, it can induce anxiety and panic attacks. And this is like not debated. And we're sitting in all these lights all days. And where are the lights the worst? In hospitals, tons of fluorescent lights, which are even worse than LEDs, in my opinion. Education and schools, any commercial building, government building. I mean, offices are just a place devoid of life and natural inputs. And we wonder why at the end of the day we're under these artificial inputs. We're staring at the same, thing on our screens all day, the same LEDs, and we wonder why we're so fatigued and we have all these issues, and we need to consume 4 cups of coffee, nicotine and all these other things just to like literally make it through the day. That is It's a tragedy. And the best thing is we can now acknowledge that this problem exists and that it does have a biological impact. And engineering solutions is not even that difficult. It's really just acknowledging that it exists and trying to peel back the onions of pervasiveness of these, items in our day-to-day lives and getting people to change.
Hey, before you go anywhere, listen up. I've got a special announcement. Mark your calendars for this one. November 22nd, Heart and Soil is dropping a new documentary called Fed a Lie. This is going to be the documentary on seed oils. The end, the nail in the coffin. Expect to hear from experts like Dr. Paul Saladino, Nina Teicholz, Dr. Chris Kenobi, even superstars like Bethany Hamilton, as we gathered the big dogs to put an end to the seed oil madness. If you want to check that out, go to Heart and Soil's YouTube, subscribe, and go to fedalie.film. Plug in your details and we will make sure you get the link as soon as that goes live so you can spread it far and wide. This will be an incredible conversation starter at the family table over the holidays, and it will be you helping us to spread this message of radical health and be a part of the healthy revolution. And as always, thank you for being here. If you like the show, please like it, subscribe it, and share it. Help us to spread this message of radical health. And we'll see you next week. Big love.